The silence of the Deep Space Research Station Horizon 7 was shattered by an urgent transmission. Dr. Ethan Reyes, head of xenological research, leaned forward, his dark eyes fixed on the flickering holographic display. Something was approaching, something decidedly not human. Commander Zara Novak stood beside him, her military training evident in her rigid posture. "Unidentified object?" she asked, her voice a measured blend of curiosity and caution. Ethan nodded, fingers dancing across the holographic interface. "Definitely not natural. Metallic composition, advanced propulsion signatures. This is no asteroid or space debris." The station's monitoring systems hummed with increasing intensity. Proximity alerts began to sound, a rhythmic warning that sent a chill down Ethan's spine. Years of research had prepared him for the possibility of extraterrestrial contact, but nothing could truly prepare someone for the moment of actual first encounter. "Communications protocol," Zara muttered, her hand hovering near the emergency communication array. "We need to establish initial contact parameters." The approaching vessel was unlike anything in their database. Its design defied conventional understanding of spacecraft engineering, fluid yet angular, with no discernible windows or traditional propulsion systems. It moved with an almost organic grace, cutting through the void of space as if it were merely a gentle breeze. "Energy readings are off the charts," Ethan reported, adjusting his glasses. "Whatever this is, it's not just technologically advanced. It's different." Suddenly, the holographic display erupted with a cascade of information. Mathematical sequences, complex geometric patterns, and what appeared to be a form of communication began to pulse across the screen. It wasn't radio waves or any standard electromagnetic communication, this was something entirely new. Zara's hand moved to the station's defensive systems, but Ethan stopped her. "Wait," he said, his scientific curiosity overriding any military instinct for immediate defensive action. "This could be our only chance to make genuine first contact." The alien vessel drew closer, its movements precise and calculated. No aggressive postures, no weapon signatures, just a deliberate approach that suggested intelligence far beyond human comprehension. A series of mathematical equations began to form on the display, complex yet somehow elegantly simple. Ethan's background in theoretical physics and xenolinguistics kicked into overdrive. These weren't just random sequences, they were a form of communication, a mathematical language that transcended spoken words. "They're trying to communicate," he whispered, more to himself than to Zara. The station systems began to resonate with the incoming transmission. Complex algorithms started to decode the mathematical language, revealing patterns that suggested a civilization with understanding far beyond human technological constraints. Zara watched, her hand still near the defensive controls, but her curiosity was now equally piqued. "What are they saying?" she asked. Ethan's fingers moved rapidly, translating the mathematical language into something comprehensible. "It's not a threat," he said, surprise evident in his voice. "It's an invitation." The alien vessel was now close enough that they could see its intricate design. No weapons, no aggressive positioning, just a profound sense of technological marvel that seemed to challenge everything humanity understood about space travel and communication. An invitation to what? Zara pressed, her military training battling with her innate human curiosity. Before Ethan could respond, the holographic display shifted. What appeared was not a visual representation of the aliens, but a complex dimensional map, a blueprint of sorts that suggested something far more profound than a simple first contact scenario. This was going to change everything. Humanity was about to take its first step into a larger, more complex universe, whether they were ready or not. The dimensional map continued to unfold across the holographic display, its complexity growing with each passing moment. Dar. Ethan Reyes and Commander Zara Novak exchanged a look of profound understanding. This was far more than a simple first contact scenario. "It's a challenge," Ethan murmured, tracing the intricate geometric patterns with his fingers. "They're not just trying to communicate. They're testing us." The station's communication systems crackled to life, not with sound, but with a series of mathematical propositions that seemed to pulse with an almost living intelligence. Each equation was a puzzle, each geometric pattern a test of comprehension that went beyond traditional scientific understanding. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, the station's senior quantum physicist, burst into the control room. Her dark hair was disheveled, eyes blazing with an excitement that matched the magnitude of the moment. "You're right," she said, cutting directly to the chase. "It's a challenge, but not in the way we might expect." Zara's military mind was already calculating potential scenarios. "Explain," she demanded, her posture still rigid but her curiosity palpable. Elena began to decode the mathematical language, her fingers flying across multiple holographic interfaces. "It's a series of increasingly complex problems, scientific, philosophical, technological. Each solved equation reveals another layer, another challenge." The alien vessel remained stationary, a silent observer to humanity's attempts to unravel its cryptic message. Its very presence seemed to radiate an intellectual challenge that went beyond conventional ideas of first contact. "They're assessing our capabilities," Ethan realized. "Not through military might or technological firepower, but through pure intellectual potential." The first set of challenges began to take shape. Quantum entanglement problems that pushed the boundaries of current scientific understanding. Dimensional mathematics that required thinking beyond three-dimensional space. Philosophical conundrums that challenged the very nature of consciousness and existence. Zara watched as the research team began to collaborate, their individual specialties merging into a collective intelligence that seemed to rise to the challenge. Quantum physicists worked alongside theoretical mathematicians, philosophers consulted with computer scientists, each bringing a unique perspective to the unfolding puzzle. "We're being evaluated," Elena said, her voice a mixture of awe and determination. "But not as a potential threat. As potential participants in something much larger." The challenges grew more complex. A problem that required simultaneous solution across multiple disciplines, no single human could solve it alone. It was a test of collective intelligence, of humanity's ability to collaborate, to think beyond individual limitations. Hours passed. The research station became a hive of intellectual activity. Teams worked in perfect synchronization, breaking down barriers between scientific disciplines, challenging fundamental assumptions about knowledge and understanding. Ethan noticed something remarkable. The alien vessel seemed to be responding to their progress. With each solved equation, with each breakthrough, the dimensional map would subtly shift, revealing new layers of complexity. "They're adapting," he whispered. "The challenge is evolving based on our responses." Zara watched the collaborative effort with a newfound respect. This wasn't about military might or technological superiority. This was about something far more profound, humanity's collective potential. As the final layers of the first set of challenges began to take shape, a realization dawned on the team. This wasn't just a test. It was an invitation, a gateway to something far beyond their current understanding of the universe. The alien vessel pulsed with a soft, almost anticipatory light. Waiting. Watching. Humanity had just taken its first step into a much larger intellectual arena. And they were just getting started. The research station Horizon 7 had transformed. What began as a scientific outpost now resembled a global think tank, with experts from every corner of the planet working in unprecedented harmony. The alien vessel continued its silent vigil, its presence both a challenge and a catalyst for human potential. Dar. Kai Nakamura, a neuroscientist specializing in collective intelligence, stood at the center of the control room. His analysis of the team's collaborative efforts revealed something extraordinary. "It's not just about solving the puzzles," he explained to the gathered researchers and military personnel. The aliens are testing our ability to transcend individual limitations. The latest challenge pushed the boundaries of human understanding. It was a multidimensional problem that required simultaneous analysis across quantum physics, neural networks, cultural anthropology, and environmental systems. No single discipline could crack the code alone. Commander Zara Novak watched as international barriers dissolved. Researchers who would have been competitors weeks ago now worked as a seamless unit, their individual expertise combining into something greater than the sum of its parts. Military strategists collaborated with artists, mathematicians with philosophers, engineers with sociologists. "They're studying our adaptability," Elena Rodriguez observed, her fingers tracing the evolving holographic patterns. "Not just our technological capabilities, but our capacity for collective problem-solving." A breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Dr. Imani Okeke, a cultural anthropologist, noticed a pattern in the communication that went beyond mathematical language. "It's recursive," she explained. "Each solved challenge doesn't just reveal new information, it fundamentally changes how we perceive the previous solutions." The alien vessel began to pulse with a rhythmic light that seemed to synchronize with the team's collective thought processes. It was as if the very act of solving the challenges was creating a form of communication more profound than any spoken language. Kai's research revealed something remarkable. The collaborative effort was triggering unprecedented neural synchronization among the researchers. Their brains were literally working in harmony, creating a form of collective intelligence that defied previous scientific understanding. "We're not just solving a puzzle," Ethan Reyes realized. "We're demonstrating something fundamental about human potential." The challenge evolved. Now it required not just intellectual solving, but creative interpretation. Mathematical problems intertwined with philosophical questions. Technological challenges were interspersed with ethical dilemmas that tested the very essence of human values. A young programmer named Rodrigo Martinez noticed something curious. The alien communication seemed to reward not just correct solutions, but innovative approaches. Traditional problem-solving gave way to creative thinking that broke conventional boundaries. "They're not looking for a single right answer," Rodrigo explained. "They're looking for potential. For adaptability. For the ability to see beyond current limitations." As hours turned into days, the research station became a beacon of human potential. Global resources were redirected. Competitive research gave way to collaborative effort. The alien challenge had become a unifying force for humanity, breaking down barriers of nationality, ideology, and discipline. The vessel's communication grew more complex, more nuanced. It was no longer just presenting challenges, it was engaging in a form of intellectual dialogue that pushed the boundaries of communication itself. Zara Novak, once skeptical of anything beyond military protocol, found herself in awe of the unfolding scenario. "We're being evaluated," she said to Ethan, "but not as a potential threat. As potential partners." The final layer of the challenge began to take shape. It was a problem that required not just intellectual solving, but a fundamental reimagining of human potential. A test that would determine whether humanity was ready for something far beyond their current understanding. The alien vessel waited, its presence both a challenge and a promise. Humanity was about to show the universe what it was truly capable of. The boundary between challenge and communication had blurred completely. What began as a series of intellectual puzzles had transformed into something far more profound, a dialogue that transcended traditional understanding of technology, intelligence, and interaction. Dr. Priya Venkatesh, a quantum computing specialist who had been working non-stop for days, made a breakthrough that would change everything. Her fingers trembled as she input the final sequence of calculations, a complex algorithm that seemed to breathe with its own kind of life. "It's not just code," she whispered to Dr. Ethan Reyes. "It's a living system of information." The alien vessel responded immediately. The holographic displays throughout the Horizon 7 research station erupted with a cascade of information, not in binary or traditional data formats, but in a fluid, dynamic language that seemed to shift and adapt in real time. Commander Zara Novak watched in amazement as the station's systems began to transform. What had been standard communication arrays were now evolving, adapting to a form of technological communication that defied everything humanity understood about information transfer. Rodrigo Martinez noticed something extraordinary. The challenges were no longer external, they were becoming integrated with the station's very infrastructure. Computer systems began to reconfigure themselves, creating neural-like networks that seemed to learn and adapt with each passing moment. "We're not just solving their puzzles," Rodrigo explained to the gathered team. "We're becoming part of the communication itself." The alien vessel began to reveal glimpses of its true nature. It wasn't a spacecraft in the traditional sense, but a mobile information hub, a living repository of knowledge that had been traversing the galaxy, searching for civilizations capable of understanding its true purpose. Dr. Elena Rodriguez tracked the information flow. "They're not just testing us," she realized. "They're trying to determine if we're ready to join a larger network of intelligence." The challenges became more sophisticated. They now required not just intellectual solving, but a fundamental reimagining of technological potential. Problems that seamlessly blended quantum computing, biological systems, and computational theory emerged, demanding a holistic approach to problem solving. Kai Nakamura's research on collective intelligence reached a critical point. The researchers were no longer working as individual experts, but as a single, unified intelligence. Their neural patterns had begun to synchronize in ways that defied previous scientific understanding. "We're experiencing a form of collective consciousness," Kai explained, his voice a mixture of excitement and wonder. "Not through technology, but through pure collaborative potential." The alien vessel pulsed with a rhythm that seemed to match the collective heartbeat of the research team. Information flowed like a living current, transforming the station into something that was neither purely technological nor entirely organic. A breakthrough came from an unexpected direction. Dr. Imani Okeke discovered that the communication was contextual, adapting not just to intellectual solutions, but to the emotional and cultural context of human experience. "They're learning from us," she said, "just as we're learning from them." The final layer of the technological challenge began to take shape. It was a problem that required a complete reimagining of what technology could be, a test that would determine whether humanity was ready to step beyond its current technological limitations. Outside the station, the alien vessel continued its silent observation. But it was no longer just observing. It was engaging, communicating, becoming something more than a simple extraterrestrial craft. Humanity stood on the precipice of a technological revolution that would change everything. And they were just beginning to understand the true depth of their potential. The world outside the Horizon 7 research station had changed. Global networks buzzed with anticipation, governments and scientific institutions watched in collective awe as humanity's most unprecedented encounter continued to unfold. Dr. Priya Venkatesh stood at the core of a transformed communication network. What had begun as a localized research effort had now become a global collaborative system. The alien vessel's challenges had triggered a fundamental shift in human connectivity, breaking down barriers of language, culture, and technological limitation. "We're experiencing a global neural network," Kai Nakamura explained during an emergency global broadcast. "Not through artificial means, but through human potential." The alien vessel had become more than an external entity. It was now a catalyst, transforming human understanding of intelligence, communication, and collective potential. Each solved challenge revealed layers of complexity that redefined the boundaries of human knowledge. Commander Zara Novak received a transmission from the Global Defense Council. Instead of military strategies, they were discussing unprecedented cooperation. The alien encounter had transformed geopolitical tensions into a unified human response. "We're no longer competing," Zara reported to the research team. "We're collaborating on a level never seen before." Rodrigo Martinez discovered something extraordinary. The technological challenges were creating adaptive systems that could solve problems far beyond their original design. Computer networks were evolving, learning, becoming something more than mere information processing systems. Dr. Elena Rodriguez tracked the deeper implications. "It's not just about technological advancement," she explained. "We're witnessing the emergence of a new form of collective intelligence." The alien vessel began to reveal fragments of its true purpose. It was more than a probe or a testing mechanism. It was a gateway, an invitation to something far more profound than simple first contact. Unexpected connections emerged. Artists began to solve complex scientific problems. Philosophers contributed breakthrough technological insights. The traditional boundaries between disciplines dissolved, creating a holistic approach to understanding that transcended previous limitations. Dr. Imani Okeke's research uncovered the most surprising revelation. The alien communication was adaptive, learning from human emotional intelligence as much as from pure intellectual problem-solving. "They're not just testing our technological capabilities," Imani explained. "They're exploring our capacity for empathy, creativity, and collective growth." The challenges became increasingly abstract. Problems that required simultaneous intellectual, emotional, and creative solutions emerged. The research team found themselves solving challenges that defied traditional scientific methodologies. A global network of researchers, previously disconnected, now worked as a single, unified intelligence. Neural patterns synchronized across continents, creating a form of collective consciousness that challenged everything humanity understood about individual and collective potential. The alien vessel pulsed with a rhythm that seemed to resonate with human potential. It was no longer an external entity but a mirror reflecting humanity's deepest capabilities. Ethan Reyes realized the true nature of the encounter. "This isn't a test," he said, his voice filled with wonder. "This is an awakening." As the final layers of the challenge began to take shape, humanity stood at a critical turning point. The encounter had become more than a potential threat or a scientific curiosity. It was an invitation to something greater, a transformation that would redefine human potential. The universe was watching. And humanity was about to show its true colors. The moment of transformation arrived without fanfare, yet with a profound intensity that would forever change human history. The alien vessel, which had been a silent observer and catalyst, began to shift. Its complex geometric structure started to unfold, revealing layers of technology so advanced they bordered on the incomprehensible. But humanity was no longer intimidated, they were ready. Dar. Priya Venkatesh stood at the epicenter of global consciousness, her hands hovering over a holographic interface that was no longer purely technological, but a living extension of collective human potential. "We're not just receiving," she said, her voice resonating with calm determination. "We're communicating." The challenges that had pushed humanity to its limits now revealed their true purpose. Each solved puzzle, each collaborative breakthrough, had been preparing Earth for something far beyond a simple first contact scenario. Commander Zara Novak watched as global defense systems, once designed for conflict, now hummed with a cooperative energy. Military strategists, scientists, artists, and philosophers had become a unified force, their collective intelligence transcending any previous understanding of human capability. Kai Nakamura's research on collective consciousness reached its culmination. The global neural network they had inadvertently created was more than a technological marvel, it was a living, breathing manifestation of human potential. "We're not just solving problems," Kai explained to the global audience. "We're redefining the very nature of intelligence." The alien vessel began to share something unprecedented. It wasn't information in the traditional sense, but a multidimensional understanding, glimpses of cosmic knowledge that challenged everything humanity thought they knew about existence, communication, and potential. Rodrigo Martinez discovered the final piece of the puzzle. The challenges were never about testing humanity's technological prowess. They were about awakening a collective potential that had always existed but remained dormant. Dar. Elena Rodriguez tracked the information flow, her eyes wide with understanding. They're not conquering, she realized. They're inviting. The transformation was subtle yet profound. Global conflicts began to dissolve. Resources once used for destruction were redirected toward collective growth. The artificial boundaries of nations, ideologies, and disciplines became transparent, revealing a deeper, more fundamental human connection. Dar. Imani Okeke's work on cultural synchronization revealed the most remarkable insight. The alien encounter had triggered a global empathy network, a collective understanding that transcended individual experiences. We're learning to see ourselves through a cosmic perspective, Imani explained. Not as isolated individuals, but as a single, interconnected intelligence. Ethan Reyes stood before the transformed alien vessel, no longer seeing it as a foreign entity, but as a mirror reflecting humanity's true potential. The challenges had been a catalyst, awakening a dormant capability that had always existed within the human spirit. The vessel began to change. Its geometric patterns merged with holographic representations of human achievements, scientific discoveries, artistic expressions, moments of collective compassion. It was creating a living tapestry of human potential. As the final layers of communication unfolded, humanity realized the true nature of the encounter. This was not a test of survival, but an invitation to join a larger cosmic dialogue. Not through conquest or submission, but through mutual understanding and collective growth. The universe had been waiting. And humanity had finally answered the call. In that moment, everything changed. And nothing would ever be the same again.